"Don't touch my daughter." Ryan Walker's voice was quiet, but it stopped 3 security officers in the middle of the Grand Meridian lobby. Crystal chandeliers glowed above a crowd of executives, donors, and scholarship families. Yet every eye had turned toward the man in the worn navy jacket and the frightened 8-year-old girl behind him. Lily's yellow backpack lay open on the marble floor. Beside it rested Vanessa Caldwell's missing diamond bracelet. "Take him downstairs," Vanessa ordered. "Now." "Search me," Ryan said. "Leave her alone." One guard reached for Lily's bag again, and she stepped closer to her father, clutching the back of his coat. Ryan did not pull away from the men holding his arms. He did not raise his voice. He did not give the room the anger it expected from someone already judged. He simply planted his feet and kept himself between Lily and everyone else. "Daddy," she whispered. "I didn't take it." Ryan turned just enough for her to see his face. "I know, sweetheart." The lobby had smelled of coffee, polished wood, and expensive perfume only minutes before. Now it felt cold. Phones lifted. Murmurs spread. A woman near the registration table pulled her child closer, as though poverty itself might be contagious. Vanessa stood 10 feet away in a white tailored suit, her expression sharp and certain. She was a woman accustomed to decisions becoming truth the moment she spoke them. "The bracelet was found in her bag," she said. "There is nothing more to discuss." Ryan looked at the jewelry, then at Vanessa. "There is always more to discuss when a child is being blamed. You are in no position to lecture me." "I'm not lecturing you." His eyes moved to Lily. "I'm protecting her." One guard tightened his grip and reached for a set of handcuffs. Ryan remained still. The restraint in him was not fear. It was discipline, the kind built in places where one careless movement could change several lives. The cuff touched his wrist. His sleeve pulled back. A pale burned scar curved around his left arm, uneven and unmistakable, like a white line drawn by fire. Noah Grant, Vanessa's security chief, had just entered from the east hallway. He saw the scar, and stopped so suddenly that the radio slipped from his hand. It struck the marble with a hard click that silenced the room. Noah stared at Ryan's wrist, then at his face. Color drained from him. "Where did you get that scar?" he asked. Ryan met his eyes with the calm of a man recognizing an old battlefield in another man's memory. "You were there." Noah took one slow step forward. His shoulders, usually rigid with authority, seemed to lose their strength. He looked again at the burn mark, at Ryan's steady hands, and at the small girl hiding behind him. Then he bent, picked up the handcuffs, and placed them on the security desk instead of Ryan's wrists. Vanessa's voice sharpened. "Noah, what are you doing?" He turned toward her, but his eyes remained fixed on Ryan. When he spoke, the command in his voice had been replaced by something deeper. Respect. Gratitude. A debt carried too long. "Ma'am," he said, "you just accused the man who saved my life." 45 minutes earlier, Ryan Walker had parked his faded pickup 3 blocks from the Grand Meridian because the hotel valet fee cost more than dinner at their favorite diner. Lily sat beside him with her yellow backpack on her lap, carefully smoothing the paper star pinned to the front pocket. She had drawn it herself in blue marker and written one word beneath it. "Brave." "Do you think they will like my painting?" she asked. Ryan turned off the engine and looked at her. Morning sunlight rested across her face, catching the same soft brown eyes her mother had carried. "They would be foolish not to." Lily smiled, but only for a second. Through the windshield, families in polished cars stepped onto the hotel sidewalk. Children wore tailored jackets, clean white shoes, and dresses that seemed too perfect to wrinkle. Lily glanced down at her second-hand blue sweater. "They look important." Ryan reached over and straightened the small silver bow in her hair. "Important is not something you wear." "Then what is it?" "It is how you treat people when nobody can reward you." She studied him as if storing the answer somewhere safe. Ryan had learned that children remembered the sentences adults forgot 5 minutes later. He climbed out, walked around the truck, and opened her door. The air carried the smell of fresh rain and roasted coffee from a shop across the street. Lily slipped her hand into his, and together they crossed toward the tall glass entrance. Inside, the Grand Meridian shimmered with marble columns, brass railings, and chandeliers that scattered light across the ceiling like frozen stars. The lobby hummed with quiet conversations about investments, university boards, and charity foundations. Ryan immediately noticed the east hallway, the service doors, the cameras above the elevators, and the emergency exit behind a row of potted palms. He did not mean to count them. Some habits stayed long after a man stopped needing them. Lily tugged his hand. "Daddy, you are doing the eyes again." He looked down. "What eyes?" "The ones where you notice everything." Ryan softened. "Today I am only noticing you." Near the registration table, a young server named Grace Miller struggled with a loose power cord beneath a coffee station. The plug sparked faintly, and she stepped back in alarm. Ryan moved before anyone else seemed to notice. "Please do not touch that," he said. He crouched, unplugged the unit, and examined the damaged connector. "The insulation is split. It needs to be replaced before someone gets hurt." Grace exhaled. "Thank you." Maintenance said they would come later. Later is a dangerous word when electricity is involved. He secured the cord away from the walkway and stood. Grace glanced at his worn jacket, then at Lily. "Are you here for the scholarship showcase?" Lily nodded. "My painting is called Home is a Light." Grace smiled warmly. "That sounds beautiful." Across the lobby, a man in a charcoal suit watched the exchange from beside a private elevator. Derek Shaw held a leather folder against his chest and studied Ryan with the careful interest of someone searching for an opportunity. Ryan noticed him, but only briefly. Then the elevator doors opened, and Vanessa Caldwell stepped into the lobby surrounded by assistants, attorneys, and the kind of silence powerful people carried with them. Her white suit was flawless. Her diamond bracelet flashed beneath the chandelier. She did not yet know Ryan Walker's name, but before the hour ended, she would speak it in front of the entire room. Vanessa Caldwell crossed the lobby without looking left or right, and people moved aside before she reached them. Her assistants followed in a tight formation, carrying tablets, folders, and expressions that suggested one wrong answer could end a career. At 40, Vanessa had built Caldwell Aeronautics into one of the most respected defense technology companies in the country. She had negotiated with senators, challenged investors twice her age, and survived boardrooms where kindness was treated like a weakness. That morning, however, even her confidence carried strain. A merger worth $3.8 billion was scheduled to be signed before noon, and one missing security approval could collapse months of work. Derek Shaw stepped beside her as the private elevator doors closed behind the legal team. "We may have a problem," he said quietly. Vanessa did not slow down. "Define problem." "Someone attempted to access the encrypted acquisition files at 6:14 this morning. From inside the hotel?" The signal originated near the service network. She glanced at the diamond bracelet around her wrist. Hidden beneath the center stone was a small authentication device designed to unlock the final contract archive. Only Vanessa, Derek, and the company's security director knew what it contained. "Was anything downloaded?" she asked. "Not yet." "Then find out who tried." Derek looked across the lobby, allowing his gaze to settle on Ryan for just a moment. "We are checking everyone without a verified company credential." Vanessa followed his eyes. Ryan stood beside Lily near the scholarship registration table, helping Grace move the damaged coffee cord away from the walkway. His jacket was old, his boots were worn, and nothing about him matched the polished surroundings. Vanessa looked away almost immediately. "Do it quietly," she said. A server carrying a tray of sparkling water hurried past them. One glass shifted, tipped, and spilled across the edge of Vanessa's folder. The young woman froze. "I am so sorry, Miss Caldwell." "Your name?" Vanessa said. "Emily Parker." "Emily, you were assigned to the executive floor because your supervisor said you were reliable." "I am reliable." Someone stepped backward, and I tried to turn. "Excuses do not dry contracts." Emily's hands trembled as she reached for a towel. Vanessa turned to an event manager. "Replace her." The manager hesitated. For the entire conference? For the company. Ryan's voice came from several feet away. It was an accident. The lobby seemed to inhale. Vanessa slowly turned toward him. Ryan had not raised his voice. He stood with one hand resting lightly on Lily's shoulder, his expression neither challenging nor apologetic. "I was not speaking to you," Vanessa said. "No," Ryan replied. "You were speaking about someone who made one mistake." Derek watched from behind her, silent and attentive. Vanessa took a measured step closer. "You believe you understand this situation? I understand that the floor is wet, the documents are protected, and nobody was harmed. Standards matter. So does proportion." Lily looked up at her father, uncertain but proud. Vanessa noticed the child, then the faded cuffs of Ryan's jacket. "And who exactly are you?" "Ryan Walker." "Are you employed by this hotel, Mr. Walker?" "No." "Then perhaps you should focus on why you are here." Ryan glanced down at Lily. "I am." The answer was gentle, but it landed harder than defiance. For one brief second, Vanessa had no response. She was accustomed to fear, flattery, and silence. This man offered none of them. Ryan did not smile. He did not wait for approval. He simply guided Lily toward the exhibition hall, leaving Vanessa beneath the chandeliers with water on her folder and irritation tightening her jaw. Derek stepped closer. "Should I have security identify him?" Vanessa watched Ryan disappear through the ballroom doors. "Not yet," she said. Then her eyes moved to the yellow backpack on Lily's shoulders. "But find out everything." Inside the exhibition hall, children stood beside paintings mounted on white panels beneath warm gallery lights. Lily's picture showed a small house under a dark blue sky, one window glowing gold while two figures held hands on the front steps. Ryan studied it as if he had never seen it before. "You made the light brighter," he said. Lily nodded. "Because home is supposed to help people find their way back." Ryan's expression softened. "Your mother would have loved that." Before Lily could answer, the lights flickered once, then twice. A low electrical hum moved through the room. Ryan looked toward the ceiling, then toward the service doors. "Stay beside your painting," he told her. "I am going 10 feet away." The noticing eyes again? "Just for a minute." Near the ballroom entrance, Derek Shaw spoke quietly into his phone. "Now." The overhead lights dimmed. Several guests gasped as the sound system clicked off and the room fell into gray emergency lighting. Staff members hurried toward the control panel. Parents reached for their children. Ryan moved to the nearest wall outlet and saw that the outage had not affected the exit signs. It was not a building failure. It was local, controlled. Across the room, a woman carrying a stack of programs stepped backward into Lily. The yellow backpack slipped from the girl's shoulder and landed beside a display stand. "I am sorry," the woman said quickly. A man in a hotel uniform bent down, lifted the bag, and handed it back to Lily. "Here you go, sweetheart." Lily thanked him, but Ryan noticed the uniform badge faced backward. Before he could cross the room, the main lights returned. Applause rose from nervous guests, and the scholarship coordinator asked everyone to remain calm. Then Vanessa appeared in the doorway with Derek and 2 members of hotel security. Her face had changed. The diamond bracelet was gone from her wrist. "No one leaves," she said. Conversations stopped. Derek stepped forward. "A high-value item has been taken from Ms. Caldwell. Security is reviewing the room." Ryan looked at Vanessa's bare wrist, then at the service hallway. "When did you last see it?" he asked. Vanessa turned toward him. "This does not concern you. If nobody leaves, it concerns everyone." Derek intervened. "Mr. Walker was seen near the service network earlier. He also handled electrical equipment in the lobby." Ryan met his gaze. "I unplugged a damaged coffee station. And you have technical experience? Enough to recognize a staged outage." A murmur moved through the room. Vanessa's eyes narrowed. "Search his belongings." Lily stepped closer to Ryan. "Daddy, it is all right." Ryan placed one hand on her shoulder. They will find nothing. A security officer checked Ryan's coat, then the small folder containing Lily's scholarship forms. Derek pointed toward the yellow backpack. That too. Lily hugged it against her chest. No, Ryan lowered himself to her eye level. Let them look, sweetheart. Truth does not need to hide. Her fingers slowly released the straps. The zipper opened with a soft tearing sound that seemed louder than the entire room. A sketchbook came out first, then colored pencils, a folded sweater, and a paper bag with half a peanut butter sandwich. Finally, something bright fell onto the carpet. Vanessa's diamond bracelet landed beneath the gallery lights. The room went silent. Lily stared at it, then at her father. I did not put that there. Ryan did not look at the crowd. He looked at the bracelet. The center stone was flawless, but the clasp was wrong. The one Vanessa had worn carried a narrow scratch near the hinge. This one did not. Ryan rose slowly. That is not your bracelet, he said. Vanessa's face hardened. It was found in my daughter's bag, Ryan continued. But it is not the one you lost. Derek spoke before Vanessa could answer. A thief would say that. Ryan turned toward him. Only if the thief knew there were two. Only if the thief knew there were two. Ryan's words settled over the room with the quiet weight of truth. Derek's expression tightened for less than a second, but Ryan saw it. Vanessa saw only defiance. Enough, she said. Security will handle this. Two officers stepped toward Ryan, and Lily immediately moved between them and her father. He did not do anything, she said, her voice shaking. Ryan rested a hand on her shoulder. Lily, look at me. She turned, fighting tears. You trust me? Yes. Then stay calm. The truth does not change because a room gets loud. One officer reached for Ryan's arm. Ryan did not resist. He did not pull away. He simply shifted so Lily remained behind him, protected from the hands, cameras, and whispers closing in around them. The polished floor reflected the gallery lights beneath his worn boots. Somewhere near the entrance, a phone began recording. Please do not make this harder, the officer said. I am not, Ryan replied. But nobody touches my daughter. Vanessa stepped closer, her voice controlled and cold. The bracelet was found in her backpack. You had access to the electrical system. You challenged my staff, and now you are inventing a duplicate. Ryan looked at her wrist. Your original had a scratch near the clasp. Vanessa glanced down instinctively, then caught herself. Anyone could have noticed that. Not from across a ballroom. Then how did you? I noticed details. Convenient. Useful. Derek moved beside her. This is manipulation. He is trying to delay us. Ryan turned toward him. You seem worried about delay. Derek gave a thin smile. I am worried about security. Then you should want the real bracelet found. Before Derek could answer, the ballroom doors opened and Noah Grant entered with two additional officers. He was tall, gray at the temples, and carried himself with the steady authority of a man who rarely needed to repeat an instruction. What happened? He asked. Vanessa pointed toward Ryan. The missing bracelet was found in his daughter's bag. Remove him from the public area. Noah studied Ryan, then Lily, then the object on the carpet. Did anyone document the search? There are witnesses, Derek said. That was not my question. The room shifted slightly. Noah approached Ryan. Sir, I need your hands where I can see them. Ryan raised them slowly. His face remained calm, but Lily caught the smallest change in his breathing. Daddy, I am right here. Noah reached for Ryan's left wrist. The sleeve of the navy jacket pulled back, revealing the pale burn scar curved around his skin. Noah froze. For one suspended moment, the ballroom disappeared from his eyes. He saw smoke drifting across a desert road, heard the warning alarm inside an armored vehicle, and remembered a gloved hand reaching through heat and darkness when he had believed nobody was coming. His grip loosened. Where did you get that scar? He asked, barely above a whisper. Ryan looked at him carefully. Recognition moved between them before either man spoke again. You were there, Ryan said. Noah stared at the scar, then at Ryan's face. Years fell away. His shoulders lowered, and the authority in his expression gave way to something older, deeper, and painfully grateful. "Walker," he whispered. Ryan said nothing. Noah stepped back as if the room had suddenly become too small. Vanessa's patience snapped. "Noah, do your job." He turned toward her slowly. "I am trying to." Then he faced Ryan again and spoke the name he had not said in more than a decade. "Master Sergeant Walker." A silence spread across the ballroom, moving from the officers to the parents, from the parents to the children, until even the cameras seemed ashamed of recording. Noah looked at the handcuffs, then placed them on the nearest table. "This man is not leaving until we know the truth." Derek's face hardened. Vanessa stared at her security chief. "You know him?" Noah's eyes remained on Ryan. "He carried me out when everyone else thought it was too late." Ryan glanced toward Lily. "Do not make this about me." Noah swallowed. "It already is." Vanessa held Noah's gaze, but the certainty in her face had begun to crack. "Saving your life years ago does not prove he did not steal from me today," she said. Noah did not look away.
"No.
"It does not." Ryan nodded once. "She is right." The admission surprised the room more than anger would have. Vanessa studied him. "Then you understand why I cannot simply take his word for it." "You should not," Ryan said. "You should take the evidence." Derek stepped forward quickly. "The evidence is on the floor." "No," Ryan replied. "A bracelet is on the floor. We have not proven what it is." He crouched near the jewelry without touching it. "Your original clasp had a shallow scratch near the hinge. This one does not. The stone on your bracelet also leaned slightly left in its setting. This one sits perfectly centered." Vanessa looked from Ryan to the bracelet. "How could you possibly see that?" "The chandelier reflected off it when you entered the lobby. The scratch caught the light." Derek gave a quiet laugh. "That is an impressive story." Ryan rose. "Then verify it." Noah turned to one of his officers. "Photograph the bracelet exactly where it is. No one handles it without gloves." Derek's jaw tightened. "We are wasting time." Ryan looked at him. "That depends on what you are trying to protect." The words landed softly, but Derek's eyes shifted toward the service hallway. Ryan noticed. Noah noticed Ryan noticing. Vanessa folded her arms. "What else?" Ryan pointed toward the ceiling. "The outage affected the ballroom lights and sound system, but not the exit signs or the service corridor. That was not a building failure. Someone isolated this room." "Hotel maintenance could confirm that," Noah said. "Already checking," an officer replied. Ryan continued. "The security cameras did not all stop at once. The one over the west door blinked out first. The camera near the registration table failed several seconds later. Whoever did this moved the blind spot across the room." Grace, standing near the coffee station, lifted her hand. "I saw something." Every face turned toward her. She swallowed. "Mr. Shaw went through the service hallway just before the lights went out." Derek's voice sharpened. "I was checking the executive meeting room." "Without your assistant?" Grace asked. "Without hotel security?" Derek stared at her until she lowered her eyes. Ryan stepped slightly between them. "Let her finish." Grace took a breath. "A man in a hotel uniform came back through the same door. His badge was turned around." Lily's eyes widened. "That was the man who picked up my backpack." Noah immediately raised his radio. "Seal the service exits and elevators. Nobody leaves the building." Derek stepped toward Vanessa. "This is getting out of control. The police should remove Walker and his daughter while we deal with the breach." Ryan turned toward him. "Why are you so afraid of 5 more minutes?" "I am afraid of losing a $3.8 billion agreement because of a stranger's fantasy." "Then you should be looking for the real authentication device." Vanessa's expression changed. Her hand moved instinctively toward her bare wrist. "How do you know about the device?" Ryan glanced at the false bracelet. "Because no one stages an outage, plants a duplicate, and frames a child for jewelry alone." The ballroom seemed to grow colder. Noah looked at Vanessa. Was the bracelet carrying company access? She hesitated, then answered. Yes. Derek spoke immediately. That information is confidential. Ryan faced him. Not to the person who took it. A hotel technician hurried into the room carrying a tablet. Mr. Grant, we found the outage command. It came from an executive access account. Noah took the tablet. His eyes moved across the screen, then stopped. Whose account? Vanessa asked. Noah looked up slowly. Derek Shaw's. For the first time that morning, Derek Shaw looked afraid. Not angry, not offended. Afraid. Vanessa turned toward him slowly, the silence in the ballroom gathering around her like a storm that had finally chosen where to fall. Tell me there is an explanation, she said. Derek adjusted the cuff of his charcoal suit. There is. My account was copied. By whom? Noah asked. I do not know. Then we will find out. Noah handed the tablet back to the technician. Pull every access log, every elevator record, and every camera with independent power. Derek stepped closer to Vanessa. You cannot allow this to delay the merger. The board is already waiting. Ryan watched him carefully. You keep talking about time. Derek faced him. Because time matters. Only when someone needs to leave before the truth arrives. The words were quiet, but they changed the room. Vanessa looked toward the service hallway. Where is the real bracelet? Derek gave a small, controlled smile. You are asking the wrong man. Grace lifted her hand again. There is one camera the outage did not affect. Noah turned. Where? Inside the freight elevator. It runs on a separate system because of fire code. Noah immediately spoke into his radio. Bring up the freight elevator footage from the last 30 minutes. The ballroom lights seemed too bright now. Lily stood close to Ryan, her fingers wrapped around two of his. He looked down at her. You are doing well. I am trying. That is what courage is. A security monitor was rolled into the room. The technician connected the feed, and grainy footage appeared on the screen. At first, there was only an empty elevator. Then the doors opened. Derek entered carrying a black document case. A second man followed wearing a hotel uniform with his badge turned backward. He held Lily's yellow backpack. The man opened it, placed something inside, and closed the zipper. Derek then removed a small velvet case from his jacket and handed it to him. Vanessa's face went still. Pause it. The image froze. The velvet case was open just enough to reveal the edge of her original bracelet. Noah looked at Derek. You planted the duplicate. Derek said nothing. You framed a child, Vanessa whispered. He finally dropped the polite expression he had worn all morning. I protected the company from you. By stealing classified access? By preventing you from signing a weak agreement. Ryan studied the frozen image. Where was the real device going? Derek looked at him with open contempt. You think you understand any of this because you noticed a scratch? No, Ryan said. I understand because people who frame children are usually hiding something larger. An alarm sounded in the service corridor. Not loud but urgent. The technician glanced at his tablet. A vehicle has been started in the underground garage using Mr. Shaw's executive pass. Noah raised his radio. Lock the garage exits. Derek moved toward the ballroom doors, but two officers stepped into his path. He stopped. You have no authority to detain me. Vanessa's voice was colder than before. They have mine. Derek turned toward her. If that device leaves the hotel, your company loses more than money. Ryan looked at the floor plan displayed beside the technician. Which exit is closest to the service ramp? The south gate, Noah answered. Then that is not where they are going. Noah frowned. Why? Because the south gate is visible from the lobby. The west maintenance tunnel connects to the loading dock. Grace nodded quickly. It does. Delivery trucks use it before sunrise. Noah spoke into his radio. Close the west tunnel. A response crackled back seconds later. The vehicle had been stopped before reaching the street. Noah lowered the radio and looked at Ryan. They recovered the bracelet. Vanessa closed her eyes, not in relief, but shame. Around her, the same people who had watched Lily's backpack being opened now watched Derek being escorted from the room. No one spoke. Ryan knelt beside his daughter and zipped the yellow bag closed with careful hands. Lily looked toward Vanessa. Does she know now? Ryan stood and met Vanessa's eyes. She knows the truth, he said. What she does with it comes next. Vanessa stood beneath the gallery lights with the recovered bracelet resting in Noah's gloved hand, but she did not reach for it. For years, rooms had gone silent because she entered them. This silence was different. It did not belong to power. It belonged to shame. Derek was gone. The security officers had lowered their voices, and the guests who had watched Lily's backpack being searched now looked everywhere except at the child they had judged. Vanessa turned toward Ryan. Mr. Walker, I owe you an apology. Ryan glanced at Lily. Not me first. Vanessa followed his eyes. Lily held the yellow backpack against her chest as though it had become the only safe thing in the room. Vanessa took one step forward. Lily moved closer to her father. The motion stopped Vanessa more effectively than any command could have. I understand, she said softly. No, you do not, Ryan replied. His voice remained calm, but every word carried the weight of restraint. You knew nothing about us, and you decided what kind of people we were before asking one honest question. Vanessa looked at his worn jacket, then at the families gathered around them. You are right. You saw my clothes before you saw the facts. Yes, you saw her backpack before you saw a child. Vanessa's eyes lowered. Yes. The admission moved through the room without defense or excuse. Ryan did not raise his voice. He did not need to. Dignity has a way of making truth sound louder than anger. Vanessa reached into her folder and removed a business card. Caldwell Aeronautics will cover every expense connected to this incident. I can also offer you a senior security position, full benefits, and complete tuition support for Lily through college. Ryan did not take the card. That is not an apology. It is not meant to replace one. It sounds like a price. Vanessa held still. Then tell me what would make this right. Ryan looked around the ballroom. Nothing can erase what she saw. Phones that had once recorded his humiliation slowly lowered. She watched adults step away from her. She heard people whisper. She watched a room decide her father was guilty because he did not look important enough to be innocent. Vanessa swallowed. What do you want from me? The truth. In the same room. In front of the same people. Vanessa turned toward the guests. For a moment, the polished chief executive disappeared, leaving only a woman facing the damage created by her certainty. Everyone, please listen. The room became still. Ryan Walker did not steal from me. Lily Walker did not take anything. They were targeted because someone believed I would judge them quickly, and that person was correct. A quiet breath passed through the crowd. Vanessa continued. I failed to examine the evidence. I allowed status, appearance, and fear to become substitutes for truth. That failure belongs to me. Then she walked toward Lily and lowered herself until they were at eye level. She kept several feet between them, giving the child room to choose. Lily, I accused your father, allowed your belongings to be searched, and made you feel unsafe. You did nothing wrong. Your father did nothing wrong. I am sorry. Lily studied her carefully. Do rich people say sorry? A few guests looked down. Vanessa's voice trembled for the first time. They should say it sooner. Lily looked up at Ryan. He gave no instruction, only the freedom to decide. After a long moment, she nodded once. I heard you. It was not forgiveness. It was not punishment. It was simply truth received without cruelty. Ryan picked up Lily's backpack and placed it gently over her shoulders. Vanessa extended the business card again, but he shook his head. Keep the job. And the tuition? If Lily earns a scholarship, let it be because of her work. Vanessa looked toward the painting of the glowing house. Then I hope the judges are paying attention. Ryan took Lily's hand. As they turned toward the exhibition wall, Noah approached Vanessa and placed the recovered bracelet on the table beside her. She looked at it, then at the false one still sealed in an evidence bag. One had opened a vault. The other had exposed a heart. And for the first time that day, Vanessa understood which loss had nearly cost her more. 3 months later, the Grand Meridian Ballroom looked different. The chandeliers were the same. The marble still reflected every polished shoe, and the coffee still carried through the lobby in warm, familiar waves. But the room no longer belonged to fear. It belonged to children. Paintings covered the walls from floor to ceiling, each one created by a student who had been told that talent mattered more than money, and character mattered more than status. Lily stood beside her painting with both hands folded behind her back. She had changed the title from Home is a Light to The Way Back. In the center of the canvas, a man reached through a wall of orange and gold to guide another figure toward the open sky. Ryan stood several feet away in the same navy jacket he had worn months earlier. It had been cleaned, but not replaced. He did not need new clothes to prove that the old judgment had been wrong. Noah Grant entered wearing a faded Army Ranger jacket instead of a security suit. He carried a small framed photograph beneath one arm. "I thought you might want this," he said. Ryan looked at the image. It showed 6 younger men standing beneath a desert sun, tired but smiling, their uniforms covered in dust. Noah pointed to the man at the edge of the group. "You always stood near the exit." Ryan gave a faint smile. "Old habits." "Good habits," Noah replied. Across the ballroom, Vanessa Caldwell arrived alone. There were no assistants behind her, no private security detail, and no announcement of her entrance. After Derek Shaw was charged with fraud, theft, and conspiracy, Vanessa had stepped away from daily leadership while an independent board reviewed every security failure that had allowed him to act. She had kept her company, but she no longer treated keeping power as the same thing as deserving it. The new scholarship program had been created without her name on it. Its rules were public, its judges were independent, and every student had been evaluated without photographs, family income, or personal connections. Lily had earned first place. Vanessa stopped several feet from Ryan. "Congratulations," she said. Ryan nodded. "She earned it." "She did." Vanessa looked toward Lily's painting. "I voted for nothing. I influenced nothing." "I know. I wanted you to know anyway." Lily turned and noticed them. She crossed the room with a blue ribbon pinned to her sweater. "Mr. Grant said my picture made him cry," she said. Noah cleared his throat. "I said it made my eyes tired." Lily smiled. Then she looked at the pale scar around Ryan's wrist. "Does it still hurt?" Ryan glanced at Noah, then at Vanessa, then back at his daughter. "Sometimes memories do." Lily touched the scar with one careful finger. "Then it is not proof that you got hurt." Ryan lowered his eyes to hers. "What is it proof of?" "That you went back for someone." Noah looked away, his hand tightening around the old photograph. Vanessa remained still, understanding that some forms of courage could never be purchased, awarded, or announced from a stage. Ryan took Lily's hand as the judges called her name. The room rose to applaud, but he did not look toward the crowd. He looked only at his daughter walking toward the light. Dignity had never needed to shout. Grace had never needed to win. And justice, when it finally arrived, did not make Ryan powerful. It simply revealed that he had been powerful all along.